Okay, so I have 1,412 books that I have to read, meaning they are on my to-read list on various platforms like Storygraph and Goodreads. Yes, to address the topic, I am a book hoarder, but with ambition. An ambitious book hoarder. I know it's bad. But yeah, of course, I don't have all of these in physical format. Some of them are ebooks, or some of them I don't even have yet. Just I'm planning to read them. Or here comes the funny part. Some of them I don't even intend to read. Let me explain. So some of them I just put on my to-read list because somebody recommended them to me, or I saw the cover and it was pretty, or I saw it in a bookshop and I thought that, it would be something for me. And I didn't really think about whether I really want to read it or not. I just put it on my to-read list, as I always do. That's part of the reason why I have so many books on my to-read list at the moment. And I decided that I finally want to stop buying more books or putting more books on my to-read list and read what I actually have or plan to read. I don't do math, so I asked ChatGPT to do the math for me. Perplexity, because ChatGPT is not very good with math. And it came out assuming an average book length of 300 pages and a reading speed of 30 pages per hour. My total reading time, it would be 14,120 books, hours to read all the books. But it's a vacation from doom scrolling. It's a refreshment. It's nice, But okay, let me, from another timeline, when I actually decided on this idea freshly, explain this to you. So, summer is here. I would like to see what happens if I set a goal for myself that I want to read the books on my to-read list. For me to read all of the books, it would take me 19 years with 2 hours a day reading, and almost 10 years with 4 hours a day reading. I am not setting the goal that I want to read everything on my to-read list, but most of them I put there deliberately. So most of them I do want to read. Still about 1,000 books, 1,000 and some hundred. So I still want to be able to experience the book fully and enjoy the book fully. So I don't want to just rush through it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I intend to post every time I start a book or have read a book. There are some lesser known books on the list, and there are some popular or TikTok books on the list, which I know I'm behind with, but I am also not looking forward to them because I don't know, whenever something's really popular, I tend to question why that is, but I am keeping my hopes up. I am keeping my mind open. And yeah, maybe some TikTok books are going to be good. Who knows? Yeah, I'm very curious how this will go. Okay, so just as a note, there are a few factors affecting this estimate. So there are variable book length. Not all of the books I read are 300 pages long. Some of them are 400 plus page beasts, and some of them are just short, 12 pages long short stories or a graphic novel or something like that. So of course it depends. It's just an estimate. It's just a rounded number. Also, I do listen to audiobooks sometimes, especially when I'm working. It's quite easy to listen to audiobooks because my hands are occupied. So yeah, that's also a bit faster, I would say. Of course, my reading speed could improve over time. I would say my current reading speed is already pretty good. I have been reading for a long time, but could get faster. But okay, yeah. With that original estimate, because let's say it's more or less correct. So at 30 pages an hour, I'm clocking in as a solid turtle in this race. I know this will probably not happen. I would say I read more than 30 pages in an hour, although I've never measured it, so I cannot know. Maybe I should measure it. That would be interesting. Okay, let's say I read 1 hour a day. It would take a long time. Also, I cannot imagine for myself that I would only read 1 hour a day, because once I sit down to read, I am usually captivated enough by the book that I want to continue reading. So it would at least be a couple of hours a day. But okay, let's say I read 4 hours a day. That is achievable. I could do that if I break up with the internet completely. Not sure. No, okay. So on some days it's completely manageable. Some days I read more than that, but some other days I don't read at all, which is bad. So I would like to make this into more of a steady habit. I would rather aim for a stable few hours a day reading than such a fluctuation where I even leave out days. I would rather consistently do it every day, even if just for 1 hour, even if just for 2 hours, but still sit down and read for a little bit. Because imagine finishing this list and being able to say, I read all of that. I've lived all of those lives. I've been into all of those stories. How cool would that be? That's something to achieve. That's something to aim for. But let me add this with a huge exclamation mark. For me, this is not a race. As I said in the beginning, that was like a joke. This is not a race, and I don't want to push myself through these books just to get to the end of this list. I want to feel the words, feel the books. I want to be able to immerse myself in the stories. I want to curl up inside of them, live inside of them. I want to be moved. I want to... Yeah. I don't just want to check these books off of a list. I would like to slow down and really read these books. The goal is not to actually finish the list. As I said, there are books on it that I don't even want to read, so I will have to go through it, or maybe just, if I find a book that I'm actually not interested in, then I can just delete it off the list. But the thing is, the goal is not to finish the list completely by the end of my life and never read another book that's not on the list. I just want to be able to build this habit, back into my life, which once existed but not anymore. I want to build it back into my life, that I read every day, I enjoy the stories, I slow down, I invest in them, I become immersed in them. That has been kind of lost due to social media mind. So yeah, I do fear the effects of social media, even though I was a huge bookworm back in my day. I absolutely feel that now I read less and my attention span is worse significantly. I do feel that I cannot focus for such long times that I would want to, and I get distracted easily. I jump on the notification sounds, so this thing is going to be muted when I read, for sure. I do recognize that a challenge is conquering the social media mind. I have also, I guess, burnout or reading slumps. I remember that even when I was a huge bookworm, it happens a few days or weeks or even sometimes months. I just don't find the right book, or I don't feel engaged in any book I start reading. So I know that reading slumps can happen. That is going to be something I will tackle when I get to it, I suppose, because I don't have an idea for that, to be honest. I think the way out of a reading slump is literally just keep trying and finding the right book, because there is going to be a book after a while that really catches your attention, that's really right up your alley, really catches your mood, like it's perfect for your mood, and then you're back into it. You're back to reading. That has happened to me. Actually, Matt Haig's The Midnight Library was one of these books that I didn't feel like reading for such a long time. I didn't feel like reading. And then I just found Matt Haig's The Midnight Library in an airport bookstore, and I never buy things at the airport, not even books, nothing. But for some reason, this book spoke to me. I felt like, that's an interesting concept. I want to read it. And I read it, and it got me out of my reading slump completely. And ever since, I'm just devouring books. So yeah, thank you, Matt Haig. Of course, there are huge benefits to reading, as we all know. It expands vocabulary, you learn empathy, you learn social skills even, or how to have conversations, how to interact with people, if you need that. There's also dopamine coming out from reading, so that dopamine can replace the dopamine you get from social media, even. Wild thought. So basically, my goal here is to build discipline, willpower, to build routine, like kind of a daily ritual, sacred time when I read. I want to rebuild my focus and my attention span. I want to sit with a story, the story that I'm reading at the time. I want to sit with it. I want to enjoy it. And I'm not saying that this will happen from day one, from story one, but I do want to develop this skill. Of course, it also depends on the book. Some books I just want to get through, and maybe some books I will even DNF because it's just not really doing what it needs to do. So yeah, of course it depends on the book, but in general, I would like to be able to develop this skill of being engaged in a story and really sitting with it, really enjoying it. like I did back in the day. And yeah, I would like to slow down my inner pace. I feel like I'm always in this rushing world, and I don't need to be. There's no reason for me to be rushing. There's no external circumstances that require me to rush. So why would I do that? Yeah, I remember the first time a book made me cry. It didn't happen all of a sudden. It didn't happen in 5 seconds. It happened on page 325. So, you need to give a book its time. You need to give your time to the book. And then it will deliver. Hopefully. So yeah, do you have a reading mountain as well? Do you have books that you need to finish? Do you have a huge to-read list that you never actually get to, but just keep adding new books or keep buying new books, and you never actually finish what you want to finish reading? Well then, I would like to invite you on this journey. Let's see how it goes. I am not promising anything. I am not guaranteeing anything. We will see. But yeah, join me. Read. You don't even need a goal. Just read. Take a book in your hands and read it. Yeah, so I know the best time to read these books was when I bought them. The second best time is now.